Sierra on the outside, Instigator on the inside. They're making their way through Mallory Square. There's B-30 Buckshot, a 34-foot Suffin powered by two 630 horsepower professional marine inboards with Mercruiser drives. There we saw Great Lakes Caster on the outside. Aboard Buckshot, we've got driver Mark Springer, navigator Patrick Burke, and throttle Bill Pfister. There's Great Lakes Caster on the outside with Buckshot, B-30 on the inside. Now, Buckshot, I'd like to thank a number of people. First of all, special thanks to Buckshot supporters, including Professional Marine Racing, for building the engines and rigging Buckshot, especially Doug, Harry, and Tommy, for giving the horsepower edge over the competition. There's Great Lakes Caster. Whirlin Brothers, also Marina, Charlie, Larry, and Drew Whirlin for the use of their facilities. Automated tapping systems for financial support. Suffin Marine for building a winning boat. Looking back there, we see Great Lakes Caster making its move. Aboard Great Lakes Caster is Jeff Haylett and Doug Popma. Great Lakes Caster, a 33-foot fountain. Back to Buckshot, the racing team would also like to thank, last but not least, Denise, Shannon, and Patty for putting up with all the late nights the guys spent working on Buckshot. Buckshot, B-30. Great Lakes Caster is a 33-foot fountain. It's powered by two 600-horsepower Chevy inboards with Mercruiser drives. As we said, Jeff Haylett and Doug Popma aboard. Some of the accomplishments, Great Lakes Caster, 94-95 Great Lakes Trophy Series champions in B-class. Also 94-95 U.S. Offshore Central Division champs. On the outside, Buckshot. Buckshot won 3 of the 4 races it entered last year, including the 1994 Key West World Championship. Great battle here between Buckshot and Great Lakes. Buckshot, by the way, is presently for sale and available for the 1996 racing season. Great Lakes Caster sponsors include Great Lakes Caster, Haylett Signs, Graffberg Precision Instruments by Laborsi Marine, also Tiger Fiberglass, National Car Rental, Dameron Truck Sales. Some of the sponsors for Great Lakes Caster, as we see Buckshot now taking the lead in B-class, going around the turn number 1 with Great Lakes Caster right behind. Buckshot and Great Lakes Caster. Now it's Mr. Technology. Mr. Technology. B-37 is a 34-foot Phantom powered by two 650 horsepower engines built by Steve at J&B Performance. Now the power is transferred to the water by a pair of Uber Marine transmissions turning Mercruiser number 5 drives. The owner, DNR Racing. On board, we got crew members, driver Doug Savory. He's from Colts Neck, New Jersey. Throttleman Ron Foley. He's from Toms River, New Jersey. And navigator Will Smith from Sarasota, Florida. This team in their first year on the circuit has proven to be a highly competitive race boat. They took a first in Barnegat Bay, New Jersey, and a first in Ocean City, Maryland. They hope to have a checkered flag here in Key West. The DNR racing team wants to thank the guys that work behind the scenes and the bilges to make this boat race ready. Rick Spinelli for the energy he puts in as head mechanic for Mr. Technology. Also, Mark Spades for keeping the boat maintained during the week here in Key West. Mark and Tom Raby and Kurt for their assistance this week. Will Smith for designing, building, rigging, and painting this world-class boat. Most importantly, Suzanne Savory and Terry Poley for their enthusiasm of this effort here in Key West. The team would also like to thank their sponsors, Digital Technologies, Polar Communications, Bonefish Billies, and Empire Pharmaceuticals for their support. The crew of Mr. Technology would like to wish all the racers good luck and safe racing here in Key West. It's Mr. Technology B-37. .34-foot Phantom, powered by two 650 horsepower engines by J&B Performance. On throttle, it's Ron Foley from Toms River, New Jersey. Doug Savory, driver, navigator Will Smith. There's Heartbeat B1 with Tsunami on the outside. Heartbeat B1 is a 33-foot fountain powered by two 620 horsepower Troy Dennis inboards with Mercruiser drives. Aboard is Alan Borum, Mark McKenzie, and Rodney Rudell aboard Heartbeat. B1. Heartbeat is your national champion for APBA. It also took a first in the Prop Series, as we said, a first in the APBA national standings, and a first in the OPBRA Gold Cup Series. Tsunami on the outside. Aboard Tsunami, we got Rob Bradley, Joe Walter, and Dennis Bradley. Heartbeat, once again, will be wearing that B1 sticker on its side for the 1996 racing season. The regular crew of Heartbeat will be on Carlos and Charlie's this afternoon, including Rodney Rodell, who will be navigating. Also, Jack Carmody and Kurt Harbor. Kurt Harbor is the owner of Heartbeat. The Heartbeat and Carlos and Charlie's racing teams are great for the world of offshore. They donate all their winnings to children's hospitals around the country. Great crews, Heartbeat and Carlos and Charlie's. And, of course, Freeze Frame Video would also like to say that we enjoy covering both the Heartbeat and Carlos and Charlie's racing teams. Also, special thanks to Bubba and Ronnie and Art Lilly for the maintenance and the rest of the Heartbeat racing team, making the Heartbeat racing team competitive this 1995 racing season. There's Tsunami on the outside, B26, Tsunami. Heartbeat on the inside, B1. Your national champion, APBA. There's Tsunami now. Tsunami going around the turn. B26, Tsunami. Magic Potion on the inside. B9, Magic Potion, a 34-foot Magic powered by two 550 horsepower Chevy inboards. There's Tsunami on the outside. Magic Potion on the inside. A 34-foot Magic, as we said, powered by two 550 horsepower Chevy inboards. Driver is Rob Storley. Navigator Steve Ingram. Throttleman Bob Teague. Magic Potion powered by Teague inboards. Now we're coming on. Instigator there you see in the middle with American International on the outside. But it's Magic Potion, Instigator, and American International bow-to-bow racing here in this 1995 Key West World Championships. Magic Potion and Instigator on the outside. Magic Potion took a second place this year in Benicia, also a first place in Dana Point, and a first place in Ventura, and a first in Pittsburgh, California. Magic Potion, a good year this year, this 1995 racing season. Instigator on the outside, Magic Potion, the 34-foot Magic. Rob Storley, Steve Ingram, and Bob Teague aboard. B9, Magic Potion. Instigator now picking up some room, going around the turn. Magic Potion appears to be going left. Instigator continues to go straight. We don't know why. Instigator. Tsunami, B26. Tsunami. Power Play Racing, B61, a 33-foot power play, powered by two 600 horsepower Fuel Maverick engines with Mercruiser drives, B26 Tsunami. Back to Power Play Racing, B61, aboard driver Gary Copley, throttleman Dan Weinstein. Gary's from Fort Worth, Texas. Dan from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Power Play Racing, B61, a 33-foot power play. 23 B-boats in all registered in this Wednesday morning race. The A, B, C, and S boats battling it out. Looks like Everglades Executioner, Triton, and Toucan Racing, and also Shockwave never even really started in B. They are out of the race. But many, many more continue. 23 originally in all entered in B. Nice throttling job there. Dan Weinstein. Gary Coberly on the wheel. This is the 1995 Key West World Championships coming to you from Key West, Florida. It's an SBR and APBA sponsored event. Going into Mallory Square, there is B7 Southwest Securities, a 33-foot fountain, powered by two 550-horsepower Troy Dennis inboards with Mercruiser drives, and aboard, driver Glenn Gibson. The navigator for today is Will Bro from Dallas, Texas. Throttleman Jamie Coates, also from Dallas, Texas. Southwest Securities. Now, Southwest Securities is a regional brokerage firm based in Dallas, Texas, with branches throughout the Southwest. Racing would also like to thank Alex's Barbecue in Tampa, Florida, Gibson Associates out of Fort Worth, Texas, and Art Lilly for making the team competitive. Once again aboard, it's Glenn Gibson, Will Bro, and Jamie Coates. Into Mallory Square, B7 Southwest Securities. Many spectators there along Mallory Square, the coastline. See some of the hotels like the Pier House and Ocean Key. Great vantage point here in Mallory Square to watch this race. Making the turn and now leaving Mallory Square. B7 Southwest Securities and spectator boats in the background here in Key West. Give the high sign. Everything's okay. They're doing a great job. Glenn Gibson, Will Bro, and Jamie Coates. The Southwest Securities racing team would like to thank Art Lilly and his entire staff for making this 33-foot fountain highly competitive here in Key West. This boat powered by two 550-horsepower Troy Dennis inboards with Mercruiser drives. Miscalculation. B48 at 30-foot velocity, powered by two 525-horsepower AMT inboards with Mercruiser drives. The driver is Jay Stuzzo from Newport Richey, Florida. Navigator Ernie Pollock. Throttleman Steve Miklos, also from Newport Richey, Florida. Miscalculation. The Miscalculation Racing Team would like to thank their sponsors, Progressive Data Systems, also Custer Ray Cigars, and a special thanks to Tony Solano. Once again aboard this 30-foot velocity is Jay Stuzzo, Ernie Pollock, and Steve Miklos. Again, a special thanks to one of their sponsors, Custer Ray Cigars. On the outside, Buzzy Buzzard on the outside. B-38, B-Fast there on the inside. B-Fast, a 30-foot velocity with Great Lakes caster on the outside going by. B-Fast is powered by two 575 horsepower Bachmann Chevy inboards with Mercruiser Speedmaster drives. Aboard, the driver is Thomas Havey, navigator Lou Patlin, and throttleman Ralph Provitz aboard B-Fast B-38. A good year for B-Fast Racing Team. They took a second place in Lake of the Ozarks, a first in Dubuque, a first in Monroe, and a third in East Lake, Ohio. The B-Fast Offshore Racing Team has finished 20 out of 21 races that they started in the past 4 years. It's an almost unheard of accomplishment in the sport of offshore racing. Sponsors include Petron Oil Additives, Hartz & Associates, Manufacturers Reps, Bachmann Engines, Racing Engine Builders, also Detroit Auto Electric, Autocon, builders of automated machinery, and Boca Grand Marine, Marine Performance Specialists. Special thanks to Chuck Davidge, John Hart, Ron Matheson, Lois Havey, Brad, and Jerry Bachman. The B-Fast Racing Team. Here's American International on the inside as B-Fast Racing Team begins to enter Mallory Square. B-38, a 30-foot velocity, B-Fast. Many, many spectators in the background there along Mallory Square, as you can see. Very popular event here in Key West. Becoming the home of the World Championships. Best of luck to B-38, B-Fast on their assault on the World Championship here in Key West. Beaver City, B-57, 32-foot Warlock powered by two 650-horsepower Volvo Paul Thoff engines with Mercruiser drive. The driver, David Quintana from Danville, California. Navigator Andy Cox, also from Danville, California. There you see some major delamination there on the side. We don't think they're going to sink, but that's why they're going slow, because they have that problem on the side. Beaver City Racing had a pretty good year this year. Beaver City took a third in Benicia, a fourth in Dana Point, a second in Tahoe, a fourth in Ventura, and a second place in Pittsburgh, California. B-57 Beaver City Racing, 32-foot Warlock. Dave Quintana and Andy Cox aboard, doing a fine job, though they do have a delamination problem there on the side. They're slowing down, as you can see now. They're slowing down because of that problem. Beaver City Racing, B-57. As you can see there, the delamination and some of the water going in. B-91, imagine that, a 32-foot Tempest powered by two 600-horsepower Kurtz Marine engines with Mercruiser drives. Aboard driver Al Izzo, navigator Tom Pato, and throttleman Rich Danstison. They're all from New Jersey. Imagine that. On board now with our onboard camera, we see Al, Tom, and Rich aboard. Imagine that. Back to a helicopter shot. Doing an excellent job. Now, the Imagine That racing team would like to thank Kurtz Marine for the Bandit Racing Motors, also for rigging and maintaining the boat. Kurtz Marine Competition Center is located in Brick, New Jersey. Also special thanks to Al Izzo's wife, Lois, and their children, Michael, Katie, and Brian. Imagine that. B-91. 32-foot Tempest. Once again, back on board with our onboard camera. Alizo, Tom Pato, and Rich Dancision looking comfortable aboard this 32-foot Tempest. You're watching the 1995 World Championships in Key West, Florida. This event is sanctioned by APBA and SBR. Just listen to those Kurtz Marine engines. Alizo, Tom Pato, and Rich Dancision, they're all from New Jersey. It's an all-New Jersey team. They're from U.S. Offshore Racing Association. Imagine that. 32-foot Tempest. As we said, this is an SBR and APBA event, but there are some U.S. Offshore boats here in this World Championship. As we said, imagine that as a U.S. offshore boat. We have a handful of them here in this event this year, including also Buckshot, Mr. Technology, and Obsession. And, of course, imagine that, all U.S. offshore, and they're all in B class. Once again, on board, imagine that. Alizo, Rich Dancision, and Tom Pato. All right, now we're going to go with the A start. The A start, we've got nearly 30 boats in all here entered in A, and Freeze Frame Video has really tried to get just about all the A starts during the 1995 APBA racing circuit, and here we are again with nearly 30 boats. With the A start, they include, we got Pure Energy, Hog's Breath, Deuces Are Wild, Power Play, T-Progression, Pantera, What's in Store, Baby Argentina, and many, many more. As we said, nearly 30 boats entered in all. They're going to go 70 miles or 7 laps here in this A start. And there you see many of the boats. As we said, nearly 30 boats in all here entered in A class. Not just anybody can win this race. There's L House Racing and Final Notice. Final Notice, as we're getting a little bit closer. Highly competitive class, A class, anybody's race. And a freeze-frame video really has made it a priority to get as many A-class starts this year as we can, and we've done that and are doing it once again. We're going to go now with A29 Wizard of Oz, a 29-foot Warlock, powered by one 650 horsepower T custom marine engine with a Mercruiser drive. The driver, Todd Milkey from Valencia, California. Throttleman, Scott Desmarto from Risotto, California. It's the Wizard of Oz A29 in the pack of nearly 30 A-boats here in the start. Everyone off to a great start. Water King and Pure Energy on the outside, but it's Wizard of Oz on the inside in this tremendous field of A-boats. Todd Milkey and Scott DeMarteau. T custom marine engine powering this 29-foot Warlock. There you see on the outside the many competitors. Big field of boats. 7 laps, 70 miles. Nice throttling. Scott DeMarteau, driver. Todd Milkey from Valencia, California. There's A2 Pittman Photo, a 28-foot Manta powered by one 700 horsepower Frank's Marine Racing inboard with a Mercruiser drive. There's Scatterbrain on the outside, Pittman Photo on the inside. Aboard Pittman Photo, Mike Werner. He's the driver, navigator Gary Steinman, and throttleman Bill Udick. The graphics were designed and created by Graphic Effects of Fort Lauderdale for Pittman Photo. The boat was painted by Mike Nicholson of St. Cloud, Florida. A2 Pittman Photo. Now, the Pittman Photo racing team has been working feverishly to change this twin-engine outboard boat into a single-engine inboard. That's why we only saw them for a brief period earlier in the racing season, not so much during the rest of the year. They wanted to make this boat much more competitive for the A-class. And, of course, with over 30 boats in A-class, you can understand why. Some of the other competitors in A-class today include Scatterbrain, Team Exciter, Frank's Marine, La Baby Argentina, Deuces Are Wild, Team Hardcore, Team Chicago, many, many more. Highly competitive A-class today. Over 30 boats in all. 33 boats, actually, in A-class. Right now, it's Pittman Photo A2, a 28-foot Meta. Mike Werner, Gary Steinman, and Bill Udick aboard. Deuces Are Wild on the outside. Deuces Are Wild. Now we're coming on Breathless. Breathless on the outside. More competition in A-class. We're coming up now on a lot of other boats in A. Pittman Photo, 28-foot Manta. More boats there, as you can see on the outside. Pittman Photo picking up some room. Mike Werner, Gary Steinman, and Bill Udick doing a fine job with this 28-foot Manta. There's Flashpoint on the outside. Flashpoint. A67, a 29-foot Pantera. Pantera. Joe Nunez is the throttle man aboard this Pantera. He's the owner-operator of Pantera Powerboats out of Miami, Florida. This boat ran unbelievably in Miami, running well right now. There you see many, many spectators in the background as Pantera heads into Mallory Square. A67 Pantera. Some of the other competitors in this unbelievable A class, we've got over 30 competitors in all. Some of the others include Team Chicago, Excalibur, Watson Store, Flashpoint, Powerplay Racing, LaBaby Argentina, Arch and Marine Scarab, Deuces Are Wild, Pure Energy, Shogun, Final Notice, Heartthrob, and many, many more. As you see, Pantera, A67, going by this big ship here in Mallory Square. And of course, the Pure House and the other hotels and restaurants, and of course, the thousands of spectators watching this World Championship in Key West. APBA and SBR sponsored Key West World Championships. And they hope to do the same thing again next year in the 1996 racing season. Some of the sponsors for today's event include ESPN, the Florida Keys and Key West, Sunoco Racing Fuels, Pure House, Vapor Trails, Boating News, Powerboat, CPN Sports, and Holiday Inn, and many, many more. Over 130 boats entered in all for these World Championships here. A67 Pantera, 29-foot Pantera. A77 Ballistic, a 24-foot twister, powered by one 600-horsepower Blue Thunder engine with a Mercruiser drive. The driver, George Mill from Miami, Florida. Navigator Fred Hayes Jr. from Miami. Throttle Alva Hayes, also from Miami, Florida. A77 Ballistic. Now, the Ballistic Racing Team would like to thank Blue Thunder Engines, also Adelphia Cable from South Dade, Impact Design in Homestead, Florida, and CSI Computer Services Incorporated, and Unlimited Marine in Opelika. Ballistic took a 4th place in the OPBRA Gold Cup Series. Ballistic, A77. The Ballistic Racing Team would also like to thank Miami Bonsai, a tree company in Miami, Florida. Blue Thunder Engines doing their job. "24-foot twister with George Mill and Fred Hayes Jr. and Alva Hayes aboard." A8 Team Chicago, a 30-foot Phantom powered by one 700-horsepower Mercury inboard with a Bravo drive. The driver, Bob Keyser from Florida. Throttle man is L. Mark Scott from Crown Point, Illinois. Team Chicago. The Team Chicago Racing Team would like to thank McGuire's and Days Inn. Now, we already have 7 boats out of the race in A class. They include Heartthrob, Final Notice, Shogun, Pure Energy, Deuces Are Wild, Pittman Photo, and Team Hardcore. Team Chicago still in there. A8 30-foot Phantom, Bob Keyser and Mark Scott aboard. Highly competitive A class, over 30 boats entered in all. But so far, 7 are out. You're watching the 1995 Key West World Championship, sponsored by APBA and SPR. Nice jump there by Team Chicago. Another one. Beautiful jump. Calm waters, though, here in Florida. There is Pittman Photo on the outside. Pittman Photo out of the race. As I was saying, calm waters, though, here in Key West for this time of year. Calmer than normal. Making for fast racing. Some more rocking and rolling there. With Team Chicago, A8, a 30-foot Phantom. A 007 Scatterbrain, a 29-foot Phantom powered by two 2.5 EFIs. The driver, Jonathan Naylor from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Throttleman Roger Rex from Miami. Roger is also the owner of 007 Scatterbrain. There's Excalibur on the outside. Excalibur. Scatterbrain, rigged and maintained by Intense Marine. Special thanks to Scott Manor, owner-operator of Intense Marine. Scatterbrain took a first place in Key West at SBR, first in Miami SBR, and currently in first place in SBR points for the 1995 racing season. Scatterbrain 007. Jonathan Naylor and Roger Rex doing a fine job. This 29-foot Phantom powered by two 2.5 EFIs. Excalibur on the outside. Excalibur. These A-boats are going 70 miles, 7 laps in all. Excalibur on the outside. Excalibur with Scatterbrain on the inside. Little competition going on here in A-class between these two boats. There on the outside, A6 Excalibur, a 27-foot Wellcraft, powered by one 580 horsepower NewTek Mercruiser engine with a Mercruiser drive. The driver, Dean Metzger, navigator Mimi Munn, and throttle Thomas Alf. Excalibur A6 is a 27-foot Wellcraft Excalibur. Excalibur A6 had quite a year in this 1995 racing season. They are the Central Division champions in Offshore A, also A-class champions in the Offshore Great Lakes Series, and second place in the Northeast Division point standings for 1995. And by the way, this is the first time that this crew has raced in this Key West race here. This is their first one here in this 1995 racing season. Now, the Excalibur racing team would like to thank their sponsors, including E&D Specialty Stand. They make grandstands. Antique and collectible autos. East Pier Marina, specialty fiberglass. NewTek Dyno Service. Also, Excalibur wishes to thank Joe Trombley, Alex Murchison, Pete Millspaw, Al Homer, Edward Metzger, and the B-Fast team. And a very special thanks to Louis the Buoy Patlin for his exceptional work repairing Excalibur. Also, special thanks to Mimi Munn. She's the navigator today. She's right there in the middle. Does a great job, and also does a great job for public relations for the Excalibur racing team. Excalibur A6 27-foot Wellcraft Excalibur. Dean Metzger, Mimi Munn, and Thomas Alf aboard. Nice job. Seems the waters are getting a little rougher here out in Key West. They weren't so when this race started. A little choppier. A6 Excalibur. A68 Power Play Racing completing its first full season. It's a 28-foot power play powered by one 700-horsepower performance marine engine with a Mercruiser drive. Driver Mike Castle from Pompano, Florida. Throttle Patrick Sullivan also from Pompano, Florida. Power Play Racing A68. The boat is rigged and maintained by Performance Marine of Pompano Beach. And we look forward to seeing this boat in the 1996 racing season. It placed first in the OPBRA Gold Cup Series this year and third nationally in its class. Performance Marine and Power Play would like to thank all the sponsors that made it happen. First off, we've got Alex Sports Jeans, Rickman Construction, Les Enterprises, Speedmaster Zinc, and Rick's Bar of Key West. And of course, let's not forget the crew of Mark Sullivan, Joe Perella, Jim McCullough, and Steve Castle, who helped made this season a successful one. Power Play Racing. Power Play right up there on the top of the pack. There are so many boats, of course, on the course. It's difficult to keep track of who is where and who the leaders are. But from what we can assess at this point, the 6 or 7 boats that are right up there on the top of the pack include La Baby Argentina, Power Play Racing, Watson Store, Flashpoint, Frank's Marine, and Archer Marine Scarab. Those are your leaders. But right now you're watching Power Play Racing A68. Power Play Racing looking and sounding good. Powered by one 700-horsepower Performance Marine engine. A little rocking and rolling there, but no problem. Another jump. Once again, we said that looks like these waters are getting a little bumpier, a little choppier than the beginning of the race. As we look downfield, more A-boats coming up. We see Frank's Marine and Archer Marine coming up now as we get closer, and there they are. This Frank's Marine on the outside, Archer Marine on the inside. A battle in A-class going on here. Archer Marine, a 26-foot Wellcraft. Frank's Marine, a 24-foot Scorpion. This Frank's Marine on the outside, Archer on the inside. Archer Marine, a 26-foot Wellcraft powered by one 640-horsepower Mercury Pop engine with a Mercruiser drive. The driver is Joe Black, Prattleman Nigel Hook. Archer Marine. Some of the accomplishments this year of Archer Marine: took a first place in Benicia, first in Dana Point, a first in Tahoe, fifth in Ventura, and a third in Pittsburgh, California. Not a bad year for Archer Marine. Joe Black and Nigel Hook aboard this 26-foot Wellcraft. Frank's Marine on the outside. There you can see the 24-foot Scorpion. A battle going on here between these two boats. Almost bow to bow, very close. Frank's Marine's the slight edge on the outside. Frank's Marine on the outside with Richard Queso, George Arancibia, and Frank Iroa. Archer Marine, Joe Black, and Nigel Hook in a battle in A. Archer Marine, powered by one 640-horsepower Mercury engine. Archer Marine just screaming around this course. Just listen to that power plant. There's Frank's Marine on the outside. Both still very close together. Archer Marine, 26-foot Wellcraft, Joe Black and Nigel Hook. Okay, now, as we approach Frank's Marine, we can tell you it's a 24-foot Scorpion powered by one 600 horsepower Frank's Marine engine with a Bravo Mercruiser drive. Aboard, driver Richard Queso from Miami, Florida. Navigator George Arancibia from Miami. Throttle Frank Iroa Jr. from Hialeah, Florida. Frank's Marine took a first place in St. Cloud, a fourth in Sarasota, and a third in Jacksonville earlier this year. Took a third place in the APBA National Points in A class, second in the Prop Series, a third in the OPBRA Gold Cup Point Series. Sponsors include Militech, Synthetic Metal Conditioner, Vila and Sun Landscaping, Hooligans Pub and Oyster Bar, Web On Trailers by Torino Trailers, and Reprographia Blueprinting and Computer Graphics. Frank's Marine, A78. Going into Mallory Square, Frank's Marine. Richard Queso, George Arancibia, and Frank Iroa as they go through Mallory Square with thousands of spectators there along the side. There's What's in Store on the inside with Sierra up ahead there on the outside. What's in Store A9, a 29-foot Warlock, one 650 horsepower Mercury inboard with a Bravo drive. The driver is John Gratis, battleman Lance Hendrickson. What's in Store with Sierra on the outside. What's in Store. What's in Store took a first place earlier this year in Pittsburgh, California, a second in Ventura, a second in Tahoe, a third in Dana Point, and a second in Benicia. What's in Store? Pretty good year for 1995 for What's in Store A9. What's in Store was also your 1995 Western Division High Points champion and 1994 Western Division High Points champion. Some of the sponsors include Archer Marine, Aero Effects, Sign Depot, and Lavorsi Marine. John Granis, by the way, the driver and owner of What's in Store, is also involved in War on the Water, a fine publication for the world of offshore powerboat racing. What's in Store, 29-foot Warlock. John Granis and Lance Hendrickson aboard A9. Watson Store, by the way, is a professional store fixture installation. Watson Store. Now, Watson Store is right up there at the top of the pack right now in A-Class. Some of the leaders include La Baby Argentina, Powerplay Racing, of course, Watson Store, Flashpoint, Frank's Marine, and Archer Marine Scarab. Those are your leaders. Going by Scatterbrain now, A9 Watson Store, passing Scatterbrain on the outside. A9 Watson Store right in there. A31 Breathless, a 26-foot Levy craft, powered by one 600 horsepower Pfaff engine with a Merc Cruiser drive. The driver, Bob Duncan from Redondo Beach, California. Throttle Rick Hartman from Santa Ana, California. A31 Breathless. A lot of boats from California here for these World Championships here in Key West. Matter of fact, they have their own tent, and there are so many boats from California. They include Archer Marine Scarab, Watson Store, Alco Motorsports, Hobie Sunglasses, Ragamuffin, Gun Again, Ocean Spray, Harry's Hofbrau, Cal Customs, Secret Agent, Torco, Beeper City Racing, Magic Potion, Quarter King, and the Wizard, and of course Breathless. Though there you can see we've got A boats, B, C, D, M, and P. They're all from the Pacific Offshore Racing Club out in California. A lot of California boats. You're looking at one of them right now, A31 Breathless. Aboard Breathless, Bob Duncan and Rick Hartman. Breathless on the rev limiter, having a blast. Breathless. A31. All right, now let's go to another California boat, A711 Quarter King, 28-foot Larry Smith Scarab, powered by one 650 horsepower Chevy Paul Pfaff engine. The driver, Brad Kaplan from Corona Del Mar, California. Throttleman Greg Reichman from Scottsdale, Arizona. Quarter King, A711. Now, Quarter King took a third place in Benicia, a fourth in Dana Point, a fifth in Tahoe, a first in Ventura, and a fourth in Pittsburgh in the 1995 racing season. A711 Quarter King. Excalibur there on the outside. Excalibur, bow-to-bow racing here. Quarter King and Excalibur as they head into Mallory Square. Just an unbelievable show of sportsmanship here in A-Class. A-boats everywhere as we head into Mallory Square. Excalibur on the outside. On the inside, it's Quarter King. Nice throttling there by Greg Reichman from Scottsdale, Arizona. .28-foot Larry Smith Scarab. Excalibur out on front there on the outside as we see the many spectators. Quarter King seems closing the gap a little bit between itself and Excalibur there on the outside. Freeze Frame Video really enjoys covering these A-Class boats because they are so competitive. Great class. There's Instigator on the outside. Instigator passing Quarter King, or not quite yet, but on the outside, bow to bow, and now making its move on the outside, passing Quarter King. Going around the turn in Mallory Square. Going around the turn, it's Instigator, Excalibur, and Quarter King. Going around the buoy there. Instigator, Excalibur, and Quarter King. Quarter King now making its move, slightly pulling ahead of Excalibur. A88 Media Master 30-foot superboat powered by one 700 horsepower MRD inboard with a Mercruiser drive. The driver is Matthew Beck from Smithtown, New York. Battleman Greg Quirk from Holbrook, New York. Media Master rigged and maintained by MRD out on eastern Long Island. A88 Media Master. All right, now let's give you a rundown of the top 10 boats here in Class A. There's Outcast going by on the outside. Outcast. Of course, we're watching Media Master on the inside. Other boats, top boats in A include Breathless, La Baby Argentina, Power Play Racing, Arch Marine Scarab, Frank's Marine. We've got Quarter King, Excalibur, Watson Store, and Flashpoint. But it's Media Master A88 with Matthew Beck and Greg Quirk aboard. Quarter King there, as you saw, on the outside, a little bit downfield. Quarter King. Quarter King now coming up on the outside. Little rock and roll with Media Master, but Quarter King now picking up some room and passing Media Master. Going into Mallory Square. A45 Taboo, a 26-foot Corsa powered by one 650 horsepower MRD inboard with Speedmaster drive. The driver, Steve Signa from Cinema Riches, New York. Battleman Jack McKay from Farmingdale, New York. A45 Taboo. It's owned and throttled, as we said, by Jack McKay from Farmingdale. Taboo, a 26-foot Corsa. And U.S. Offshore Taboo in the 1995 National High Points, the 1995 Central High Points, and third in the Northeast High Point standings. Steve Signa, the driver of Taboo, is the owner of Century Transmission Services in Southampton, New York. This was Steve's first race at the wheel of Taboo, and he's doing an excellent job right now of navigating and handling the boat. Steve comes from a background of drag racing motorcycles. Also, special thanks go to Jim Buck, the crew chief of Taboo, and to Skip and Bob at MRD for all their help. The Taboo race team would also like to extend a special thanks to Phyllis Baxter at El Patio Motel in Key West for her sponsoring the team with lodgings during the race week here in Key West. You're watching Taboo A45. Jack McKay and Steve Signa. Now, this is the last boat that we will be covering for you in this Wednesday morning race. This is the first race of the Key West World Championships, and very shortly we will be compiling the final results of this first leg of the 1995 World Championships in Key West. All right, now as we overlook Mallory Square and the Truman Annex, we can tell you that the results of the first day of racing here at Key West are in. It's a two-day event, each class racing 2 days. The ones with the most points over that time is your world champion. Now, for this first day, the winners in A class include in first place, La Baby Argentina. In second place, Power Play Racing. In third, Archer Marine. And in fourth, Frank's Marine. Once again, La Baby Argentina coming out in first place on top in A class. In B, in first place, Buzzy Buzzard. In second place, Mr. Technology. In third, Obsession Racing Team. In fourth place, Instigator. Once again, Buzzy Buzzard taking the checkered flag in B class. In C class, in first place, Harris 777. In second place, No Mercy. In third, it was Sierra Klotz. And in fourth place, American International. Once again, the winner in C class in this first day of racing, Harris 777 in C. In S class, first place, Cock Attack. In second place, 7-Up the Uncola. In third, Torco S4. And in fourth, Outcast. Coming in fourth place, once again, Cock Attack taking the checkered flag in S class. And there you have it, the final results of this first day of racing here in Key West, your 1995 Key West World Championships. Now, before we go, there are a few people that we would like to thank. First off, the Freeze Frame Video production crew, our helicopter pilots, Danny Crow, Russell Kilpatrick, and Ron Kaiser, Air Costa Helicopters, and Kilpatrick Helicopters. Now, a sad note before we go, Mr. K stuffed it today during the race. Unfortunately, Pepe Ferrara, the throttle man, was killed in that incident. The other crew members were critically injured. Pepe Ferrara will be dearly missed. Next time we see you, it'll be in the second race of this 1995 Key West World Championships. Bye, everyone.